and Control, NAFDAC. Professor Majoshola Christiana regarding the agency's illegal enforcement of arbitrary ban on sachet alcohol and 200 ml PET bottle alcoholic products. This curious enforcement does not sit well with the national alcoholic policy that has since been signed into law by the Federal Ministry of Health and presidential directive restraining NAFDAC from further disrupting business premises of affected companies pending the outcome of a joint committee. The action is not only counterproductive to the economic policy of the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and directive. Therefore, the action is not only counterproductive, therefore, it is also capable of stirring up civil unrest, considering its timing. The profitable operation of these companies affected will be hampered, thereby casting government in bad light. This decision to arbitrarily enforce the ban on production and sale of flagrant disobedience to the resolutions of the House of Representatives on the matter VET NAS 10 HR CT 33/77C of 14th March 2024, where in the House, after extensive consultation meeting with key stakeholders, through public hearing, took far-reaching decisions, including restraining NAFDAC from further embarking on such ban and describe it as anti-people, but yet the DG still taking action, neither not listening. We have therefore approached the Senate, and we trust that the senators will reconsider the matter after wider consultation with key stakeholders. The Director General was fired by Mr. President without delay, as her gross incompetence is gradually throwing the entire country into needless confusion in the wake of conflicting directives from different authorities of government. No thanks to her desperation. And we have said this time to time, and we as Nigerians, we are not happy with her stance. It is important to note also that the sale of alcohol in sachet and PET bottles was not intended to have a negative impact on Nigerians. Rather, it was an innovation to serve the low-income adult populations who also desire the product and should be allowed the right of choice. If allowed to stand, the ban will deny them the opportunity to exercise their fundamental right of choice. However, contrary to claims by NAFDAC that sachet alcohol beverages encourage abuses, availability in small portions rather discourage abuses that are usually associated with bigger containers. Equally important to note in the fact that alcohol served in sachets by local producers is produced under thoroughly hygienic conditions and certified regulatory agencies, including the NAFDAC. We would like to further place on record that the untested and unverified assertion of abuse by minors as the basis for the ban has been controverted by credible and empirical research that was independently conducted. Industry operators have gone further, notwithstanding the report of the survey, to initiate series of campaigns in respect of responsible alcohol consumption to encourage underage use and other abuses. This has resulted in substantial amount of money, in over $1 billion, being expended on advert placement in major news. News outlets across the Federation. The impact so far has been very massive. Discouraging abuse by underage persons and has also deepened access restriction landscape. Concerned citizens for change, therefore, supports preemptive measures to remove unsafe products from the market. We only maintain that such decisions should be supported by empirical facts and not emotional persuasion or appeals to public sentiment, currently being done by Professor Adiaye. Succumbing to these scenarios can only lead to catastrophe of compromise in jobs and livelihoods and activities, grave unintended consequences. This draconic action is detrimental to the survival of the concerned industrial operators of Nigerian origin. More so that it comes at the expense of the job and livelihood of workers and all those involved in the value chain. This decision is ineffective because it will open up the market for illicit, substandard, and unregulated products. It will further lead to an influx of imported alternatives, mostly smuggled, thereby denying government substantial revenues collectively from the companies, and also restrict low-income consumers access to products. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, we are here, but unequivocally call on the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to act without hesitation or delay to fire NAFDAC DG Professor Mojusola Christina Adiaye forthwith, cause her continued stay in office is no longer in public interest and good of his administration. for gross incompetence and abuse of public office. The clandestine activities, and thank you. All God bless you.